All right, wait a few minutes here while people can join us. I got an exciting video planned. Having some computer issues. I actually got a new computer at the end of last year on sale through Dell, and apparently it doesn't like this Logitech webcam. Whenever I have the webcam plugged in, it like slows down the whole computer big time. So sorry about the technical difficulties, but I'm going to talk about the new year. So obviously say Happy New Year to you guys. I'm pretty grateful. Over 3,000 people following my journey on YouTube, over 2,000 on Instagram. So the channel and my following is growing pretty quick. And I want to first say thank you guys for that. If you're new, basically I talk about, I'm a reseller. I buy stuff for a low price and try to sell it for a higher price. And I specialize in liquidation and mainly pallets. So I try to find the best value is when you buy in bulk. And if I have anybody in here in live on the chat, if you could let me know, guys, if you can hear me all right. Like I said, I was having some computer issues. So I'm going to refresh real quick. But anyhow, like I was saying, I buy bulk and sell it for a profit. Just trying to get the chat up. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulties here. So we'll talk about the new year. My plans for this year, 2018 recap, what my 2019 plans are, and then do a little Q&A. Waiting for a few people to join. Maybe repeating this once I get confirmation that everything's good to go. I am not real sure. So where I'm at now is kind of what I set up as like my computer desk. None of the helpers really work over here. It's just kind of for my area. I decided I want to get a secondary monitor, but I had like an all-in-one PC. So that actually didn't project to the second monitor. I didn't realize that after I bought it. And I was like, crap. I was like, well, I actually needed another computer for another area that we work. It'd be nice instead of like running over the other computer or bringing the laptop over just to have two setups. So I was like, you know what, let me see what I can get at like the Dell outlet. I ended up getting a good deal on another PC. The only problem is I'm having issues with that one working with the webcam. And now, so I went back, got the other one, doesn't project. So I have this monitor here, which I'm looking at you guys with nothing on it. I have to look over here at the computer. I have my notes and stuff, but I just jotted those down. And for some reason, it's just now. So the other thing I was going to say is I had to run a hardline cable over here from the router as well. So I did that. And it seems like it's running better, but at the moment, I'm having a hard time loading the current video to see the chat. So if anybody could comment, if anyone's watching, if you can comment in the chat, can you hear me? Is everything loud and clear? And I believe I need to open it up in another window for watching. Here we go. All right, so we got a few people watching. Oh, here we go. I got a few people. Keep at it, loud and clear. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Won some bids last night from Jamaica. Cool. Hello. Yes, sounds good. You know what, guys? I'm going to be answering a ton of questions at the end. Like I said, I was having some computer issues, but I do want to kind of go through what I have prepared. And during that preparation, I'm going to talk about the future of the channel and how I plan to do this. So let me jump into it. Like, again, this is week 1, 2019. Happy New Year. My name is Dan Cal, Liquidation Pros. Going to have some resources that you can go there at liquidationpros.org. They're not all set up yet, so don't hold me to it. Super busy. I'm a full-time reseller, which means I buy products and resell them on eBay, Amazon for a profit. This past few months have been super swamped. We had, in 2 months, over 1,000 sales on eBay, so November and December. And I did over 1,000 just on Amazon alone in December. So it was pretty much lights out, awesome year. It was over 45 grand just for that month. And we'll talk about that more. So it was kind of, for me, this is like, how can I help people? How can I give back? I learned a lot from the community. Like it'd be nice to get a few extra bucks from the ads and whatnot, but that's not my main focus. It's kind of something I enjoy. I enjoy building a community, talking to you guys, and learning. So this is one way to give back. I'm not going to be giving you all my top sources and this and that. I'm going to get you to a point where you're going to break through the line and you're going to learn enough to where you're going to be able to go off and find your own sources. So any questions you have, put question in the chat. I'm going to check them in a bit later. Today, right now, I'm going to talk about recap 2018. So my main two places I sell are eBay and Amazon. Amazon, I sell brand new products that I'm, ungated for, that I'm approved to sell. And then eBay, I tend to sell like the open box, scratch and dent, used items, normally go there. And also the products that I can't sell on Amazon, I'll sell on eBay. So my goal, and I'm not a big, I feel like yearly goals are tough because it's such a broad spectrum. It's really hard to project what you're going to do for a year, but you can break it down. And I'm pretty good now that I've been doing this. Will be my 5th year with the business. So I bet 4 years in, I started it back in 2014. So this will be year 5. But you can kind of see as things grow and project. I was hoping that this year we do over 200. With eBay and Amazon combined, we did just over 220,000. And I also have a full-time job, by the way. So this is me managing this business. Now, currently, I ended the year with 4 helpers. You can do it. I was able to break 100,000 with just one eBay lister in-house, and that was a family friend, and she worked like 10 to 20 hours a week. She's still with me now. She's been with me for 2.5 years. So she is basically a manager now, to where if I get a lot of stuff in, I don't have to give her a whole lot of instructions other than this is what to expect. These are my plans for it. And then I let her make the decisions. Other than Amazon, she'll flag stuff and say, hey, I think, this qualifies brand new. It's 20 of the same thing. They're all packed in bags. Take a look at them. I'll look them up, scan them, and make that decision on, if they can go to Amazon. But other than that, with eBay, she's good to go. I don't have to worry about that. She knows how to price. She knows how to prepare the listing, photograph it, and then upload that information to my virtual assistant, who loads it all into it. I use a third party. I use Altiva, and some people use InkFrog. There's some other listing. I've used Altiva back in the day. I still had an account with them. I just had renewed that when I went virtual. And that way someone can go in and create drafts without having access to my entire account. eBay's supposed to allow access for limited access to your account down the road, so where you can have employees get into it. But, it would worry me to have someone I don't know go in and change my billing or this and that. So anyhow, that's how we do that. So it was a great year. I did more than I expected I would do. And going back to what I was saying before, I kind of knew that if I was averaging earlier in the year around 20, in the summer, if I could do around 10, and those months are in spring and fall. Kind of spring, I have a little bit of pickup because I do some sporting goods and clothing. So that would, if I could do around 15 on those months, and 15 to closer to Christmas, and then around 30 to 40, I would be close to breaking 200. So I thought to myself, 200 is realistic. I didn't write it down. I don't have a weekly thing where I had these numbers. We need to work harder. We need to do this. We need to do that. It's just more based on this is what's practical and this is what the trend is showing. I'm always looking for more inventory. And now I'm to the point when you have employees, one of the best things you do when you have a helper, they want to work. So if you don't buy inventory, they don't have nothing to do. So it's one way to keep you motivated. Over the holiday break, I was really hoping to take not a lot of time off, but at least a solid week off. And I pretty much worked every day but Christmas and the weekend before, when I traveled to see my family. And the reason being is all of my helpers were out of school. 2 are in high school and 2 are in college. So they wanted to work. They wanted to make money for Christmas. And it's man, I was trying to take a break, but I took advantage of it. They were busting butt. I was working. So I took a few days after right around New Year's up until now. I've kind of been taking it easy. I'm still working. We're still shipping 20 to 30 items on eBay a day right now. But I'm more ready to get back into the YouTube, give you guys updates, and talk about what my goals are. So I didn't do a whole lot local. in local sales, meaning like Facebook Marketplace, about a few thousand. I have to go and calculate. I haven't done any of that yet. I won't have even the full details. I won't have that for a couple weeks until I really prep for my taxes. But did some local stuff, did the flea market once, so nothing too crazy there. I am basically the cheaper stuff to me that's worth selling locally. $20 and less. That's probably not worth selling online. I'm storing that. I rent a 1,600 square foot house. I get it for really cheap here. It's from actually my brother-in-law, so it's a family friend. I have it pretty much stacked full inventory. The goal down the road would be maybe to have like a small warehouse with a garage like sale once a month. And for me right now, I just don't have the time to go to the flea market every weekend or to set up a little shop. And the storefronts around the Baltimore area and Maryland, most of them are 2,000 plus a month. So it would be like me opening a liquidation thrift shop and having to make, 5,000 a month and still work full time. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but I am paying to store that stuff for down the road for, hopefully have the goal of being able to at least do like once a month garage sale type situation. Another thing to talk about social media, YouTube. You'll see me post stuff on Instagram. I'm not great at getting back to everybody. What I'm going to do now is if you send me a question or DM me a question, if it's something that I'm seeing a lot of, I'm going to take a screenshot. And then when I do my live YouTube, I can, read it out loud and answer the questions. I get a lot of the same questions, so that'd be a good way to address that. And then those people that had asked, I can say, hey, check out my latest YouTube video. I answered it on there live. So I think that's a pretty cool idea. I have a few questions lined up on here for later, so that may answer some of these questions here in the chat. And I appreciate everyone who's joined me. We got 13 people now. I didn't, schedule anything. I tried to last minute, but I'm fairly new to YouTube. I don't know all the ins and outs, so I'm still learning that. But with social media, during this past, so the month of December, I worked 4 days in my corporate job. So I was off for pretty much 3 weeks. I saved up vacation knowing that it was going to be crunch time. I was also, was I off? I was off like 3 days the week of Thanksgiving, but that was mainly just holiday time. So I didn't have to take vacation. But anyhow, I planned, we really only did like one big summer trip, and I've been with this company for, this is my 20th year there. I started when I was 17. So I have like a ton of vacation time. So I saved 2 weeks, actually 3 weeks, technically, sorry, 2.5 weeks, 2 weeks earlier in the month, a week in the middle I worked, and then it was like a half a week to get off the rest of the year. I forget how it worked out, something like that. Anyhow, I was really able to focus, grind, and I kind of had to put social media and YouTube on the back burner, because what I found is, you get on there and you're checking stuff out, and before you know it, you're just in this hole of like scrolling. You get like, sometimes you get like this feeling of disappointment because you see somebody that's making, they did 1.2 million on Amazon or something, like, man, that would be great. It just, sometimes you do have to clean up your feed. I listen to a lot of stuff about positivity. Try to follow people you want to be like. So, depend on how they come across on their page. Is that who you are? Like, is that a reflection of you? And if it's not, you may want to consider, you don't even necessarily have to unfollow them. You can do, see less posts or something like that to kind of clean up your feed. Avoid those distractions that are going to slow you down. Even now, you should probably, if you're listening to this, you should be also either listing or photographing. You don't really need to see me. This could be almost like a podcast to you. A lot of times when I listen to, Pete, the Craigslist Hunter, or Wade from Wade's Ventures, a couple other guys, I'm doing it while I'm shipping, because pretty much every night between 9 to 10 o'clock, I have 20 to 30 packages to ship out. I like to do that at the end of the day. So then when I wake up for my job, if it's like 4 or 5 more, it's not as bad. I don't have time in the morning to do that much shipment. So I'll listen to it while I'm doing stuff. So that's some advice for you guys for 2019 is, try to stay productive and use social media and YouTube and use all this as a tool to help you grow, to help build your, your reselling business. And then a couple goals for me is I'd like to potentially get over 10,000 followers on our subscribers, I would say, on both Instagram and YouTube. I think if I stay consistent and do at least one video a week, and then post, maybe not daily, but at least every other day on Instagram. My posts aren't the greatest. I don't really spend a whole lot of time with it. I'm not the best at social media, but when I do post, I feel like I want it to be valuable to you guys, or kind of cool stuff of things I found, lots that I found, bulk lots that I got, pallets, whatever. Any news articles or things I come across, I like to forward that along. But I'm not like posting 50 things a day just so I can show up in your feed. That's not really my strategy, because I don't really care about having 100,000 people that don't really listen to what you have to say or follow you, or they're not even resellers. I would rather have 1,000 people that are resellers that appreciate the time I'm taking to do this and are looking to get into buying and selling pallets. And down the road, hopefully we can connect somewhere at a conference or what have you and talk about and I have to shake a few guys' hands from back. I've been on eBay. I started my first account in '99. I sold my first item in 2002, but I really didn't start ramping up till probably around 2008. And I have stories about eBay and dumpster dives and just so much stuff over the years that I've come across that I can talk about in other videos. So I have a lot there, a lot of experience. Sold over 10,000 items on eBay currently. Bought so much stuff. I don't even know what my Amazon numbers are. I'll have to look that up. Probably similar, even though I've only been doing Amazon for about 5 years. So, and then why would I do this? Some people would ask, why are you on social media? Why are you on YouTube? It's more to connect with you guys, connect with the community. For me, I like to learn from others, and then also I like to teach. So part of my job is I'm like basically a data analyst. I don't want to get into too many details of what that is because it has nothing to do with reselling. But I'm also part of it is equipment testing and training. So when we get new hires, a lot of times I go out and train these guys how to do it. And from what what other managers have told me is that they would rather, there's other people in the company to train, they would rather have me do it. They feel like at the end of the day, the guys understand it better from me. I've been doing it a lot longer too, but I guess I have a certain way of communicating where it's not that I dumb it down, but I guess it's more like layman's terms, and very complicated things I can make seem easier to understand. So that's about it for my sales. Anybody have any quick questions about sales? We got about 14 people in here. Take a quick water break. Hey, what's up, Wade? Glad to see you, brother. So 2019, most people, you guys, a lot of guys are posting their sales goals. I don't think it'll be an issue for me to hit 250. So I'm going to put it at that. The thing with my goals, though, is I want to have more time. So I feel like I can do 250, but also have time to start doing other things. I've already branched into, I have a few private label items. I have a few wholesale accounts, but my bread and butter has mainly been the pallets. I make the biggest margins off of that. It's more work, but if you can, if you can get the labor to help you, it's doable. And now that most of my team can do from start to finish, it's starting to free me up to do more sourcing. I've already found 2 new connections this past year in 2018. I actually on Monday have like 200 and some Mophie. I'll do a video on that or unboxing like the Mophie iPhone and portable chargers. These are Amazon returns, untested, but I've got them from the guy earlier in the year, but it was only like 50 of them. It was kind of like a trial run. So I ended up paying $7 a piece. Some of them were selling for 50, some were selling for like 10 to 20. And I had a manifest, so I know exactly which ones he was offering me. And I basically said, okay, for all of them, here's my offer. or for these 200, I think it might actually be 164 for these. Here's my offer, and it was only like $100 less. So basically, I'm saying like a lot of these, I took the time to look them up. They're not worth a whole lot. If you want to throw them in, I'll take them. He actually decided to go with the lesser option, so the lower amount, the lower quantity. So it's $7 a piece. Basically, I'll probably set to make $1,500 off of that load. It's about 40. I estimated $4,500 in resale value, eBay value, and I got it for around $1,400. So, and that's me already considering loss. So, should be a pretty good deal. But that's the kind of things I want to continue to do, is develop these relationships, find these connections. So now this guy is going to just message me directly next time he has another lot, and I can go from grow the business that way. I enjoy that. I enjoy like the hunt, looking for the items, like when the items come in, like seeing was it a good buy, all that. But like the inner, inventory, management, the listing, the photos, taxes, all that stuff I could do without. I'm more of like, I enjoy the hunt and the buying and the selling. And then I also enjoy getting out and meeting people and talking to people. So like when I do the flea markets or garage sales, yard sales, that's always fun for me. People, when I show up at like the flea market, like know me on a first name basis, and they're super excited to see me. So that's always fun. For the resale channels, I don't plan to add anything. I'm going to stick with eBay and Amazon. I looked into Poshmark, and my biggest thing was, so I'm going to take the time to add these listings, which, there's processes that can help and make it quicker, but the prices were around the same. And I get the whole shipping for $6. That's an awesome aspect. But if everything's kind of, for the most part, with the stuff I sell, now I sell a lot of like name brand, Adidas, Puma, Nike, off the shelf type stuff. I don't get into like super high end clothing. I just don't at this moment. So, but for that type of stuff, so say a $20 pair of Nike jogging pants, they're going for that on eBay. Well, if they're going for that on Poshmark, why would I take my time to put them there if they're going to sell within 30 to 60 days on eBay? It's just, I can only do so much with my operation. So for right now, I'm going to stick to those two channels, and I'm going to try to build more processes to help alleviate some of my time from being as hands-on as it is. I'd like to get my veteran employee more involved in Amazon, but I'm still reluctant because I have been suspended. When I first started, I was sending in, what do you want to call it? Somebody help me out. It's when everything's combined, like I sent in a new phone case. It gets mixed with other people that are selling new phone cases, and it's it'll come to me. But anyhow, I had 1,000 items sent in, and I had started getting some negative feedbacks. Commingled inventory. Thank you, Uni LLC. Commingled inventory. So I was doing commingled inventory. Big mistake, because other people were sending in used items as new. That item was getting shipped to the customer. Amazon has no idea whose it was. I was getting paid for it, but then when the customer complains, it goes on me. So it was a bit of a process. I was suspended for like 5 or 6 months, but at that point I was like, screw Amazon. I'm going to go full, really kick butt on eBay. And then I came across a couple big lots of new stuff, and I was like, man, it'd be really nice to be able to send this all off. It's a really fast seller. And I went through the process of getting reinstated. Now, I was able to do it on my own based off of what they kept requesting. I wrote like a 2-page letter and, talked about all this stuff, these new plans that we had, and kind of BS my way through it a bit, but you kind of have to. We did put new plans in place. It just, the biggest mistake I made was I was a rookie, and I did commingled inventory. So I learned pretty quick. But with that being said, I can't afford to lose that at this point. It would be so much more work for us to list everything on eBay. And we're getting on average, around 20% more value on Amazon. So the fees are higher. I'm taking a lot of stuff off my hands with customer support and shipping. They're storing that inventory. So it's been great for me. Been pretty profitable. And then for my YouTube plans, I'm hoping to do like one live video a week, possibly one full length like haul video, or like some of the ones you guys probably, the reason you're subscribed is you saw some of the videos where I did liquidation.com, and go through in a little bit more detail, more like actual hands-on, and then just maybe a few like unboxing videos. Those are always fun, and they drive a lot of viewership. I know Wade knows from some of his storage units. He got that vintage storage unit haul, and that video blew up. Mine, actually, the first one I did with the liquidation unboxing, kind of was good timing. There's a bunch of people doing liquidation videos, and of them, one of them, the Resell Rabbits, went viral. It was like over 1 million views. Well, I happened to be for like a week the second one recommended beneath him. So if anyone's seen that video, that's probably how you found me. And that just happened to be because it was my first video I ever posted. I must have had similar keywords. I was talking about liquidation pallets, and I bumped up pretty quick. So that was pretty awesome and lucky for me, because within like 3 months, I had enough views to start the application for the AdSense, and kind of make it, at least it's not a lot of money, but at least I know, like, if I'm taking an hour away to do this, it'd be nice to make a few bucks, because I could be making a lot more reselling. So, and then maybe doing like 1 or 2 videos of tips and tricks. Some of those I'll probably put on Instagram as well. So, with that being said, I'm going to jump into some Q&A. Like I said, I have a few on the phone, and then I'll check the chat. Let's check in the chat real quick. Dennis says he has a ton of random classical music LPs that I just was given for free, and I was wondering if those are worth trying to sell, or should I get rid of them in bulk? I honestly have never dabbled in LPs. The closest thing I've ever gotten to was like music CDs I've sold, video games. So I wouldn't be the one to ask. Maybe Pete, the Craigslist Hunter. I know if you watch his stuff, there's certain names that he knows, like this will do well to shop for 5-10. He knows that there's a couple that are worth a lot, but most of the times you don't find those. But there's a lot of them that are like $1 or 2 for $1 or what have you. I think he does like $1 at his shop. So it might be better to do like a bulk, like local sale. So you might have to ask someone else on that one. People are commenting about sounds like your processor graphics situation, your CPU may be only able to view one monitor. You may have to buy a cheap graphics card. Oh, okay. Yeah. This original computer I had, it doesn't have the projection capabilities. So that was one of the issues. So then I got the one that did, but now I just literally just got the cable hooked up yesterday, the landline cable. So I had to run that from there, like 50 feet from the other side of the house, which was a pain, but I got that over. And today, though, my wife was going out with some friends tonight. It's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast right now, 10:15. And then our kids are obviously sleeping. So I was like, it's a great time to jump on live. In the future, the best time for me is probably going to be Thursday nights. I know there may be some conflict, some conflict with some other resellers, but that's probably what's going to work for me. And then you can always, watch it. If you can't make it then, you can always watch the post replay. And you can also message me, DM me, Liquidation Pros on Instagram. That's another way to get some questions answered. So, as far as the questions go, I got one here from Jake First 99. Name's Jake. I've been watching your videos on selling Amazon boxes on YouTube, and actually have broken into profit for my first electronics box. That's awesome. He's been selling for 3 years. He goes on to talk about his account. And then he said one of his questions is, how efficient do you find your shipping label printer to be compared to just printing and taping the labels and two? When do you ship flat rate instead of just priority? Okay, so pretty simple with the shipping labels. For me, no matter the cost, it boils down to time. Now I use a Dymo 4XL. That's just what I decided to get 3 or 4 years ago. And one tip that I don't know who said it, but let's say your small business eBay venture is doing $25,000 a year. Well, what tools would you have if you were doing $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year? Now, I'm not saying you need $200 a month programming, but if you can portray that you're on this path to get to that point, I'm pretty sure you can afford a $150 label printer to help you save time. I don't know if the actual labels, I know you don't have to worry about buying ink, which is awesome. It's a lot faster printing. They stick to the boxes amazingly. You don't have to, add any tape or anything, which is great. And I know this because since the Amazon FBA shipments prints a double, like a fulfillment label and a shipping label, I use my regular inkjet printer for that. And those labels that I buy, they stick, but I still put Scotch tape on the edges just to make sure, because I feel like if I wanted to, I could pick at them and pull them off. You can't do that with the actual I use house labels, the label for the label printer. So that's the one question. The other question was talking about shipping. When do you ship flat rate instead of just priority? When it's cheaper, pretty much. You can put in there in your eBay, I typically, as a rule of thumb, I don't put the flat rate in unless it's like a legal flat rate or a padded flat rate or a regular flat rate envelope. Other than that, I always just put in its priority mail and the weight and the dimensions. So that way, when eBay pops up, you're automatically going to see the highest work, what could be the worst case scenario. If it says $7 or $8, you're probably shipping it locally, and flat rate's going to cost more. So now all of a sudden, though, if it says $17, but you know that you can fit in a medium flat rate, you would simply just switch it to medium flat rate box, whichever one it fits in, and go that route. You can also check your local A and B, your regional rate boxes. Those basically what that's doing is taking like a weight of 3 pounds, I think is what it is. And if you can fit it, and then it goes up based on how far it's going. So let's see. I hope that answered his questions. He actually had one more, which he followed up with. And once again, this is Jake verse 99. Said he's going to check out the YouTube show. He said, do you ever purchase boxes on liquidation.com from other sellers? I have twice. I just found after the one seller, I bought like some Chinese knockoff type stuff, which I knew was going to be that, but it was cheap, and I thought maybe I could make something of it. Well, most of it either got tossed or got sold at the flea market for super cheap. It wasn't anything worth selling online. There was one other seller I bought from. I believe it was like sporting goods. I can't think of the name of that seller. But then back then I came across online returns is what the liquidation seller is called back then. I came across them, and when I finally realized, okay, these are actually coming straight from liquidation. Like they're buying I don't know if I think they're partnered with liquidation.com. I never got a true answer if they're buying the stuff by the truckload and then breaking it down. But I did, every one of the packages has the Amazon return label. Like if you requested inventory back from Amazon at like LPN label, that's on everything. So it's coming from Amazon. Once I found that, I found kind of a honey hole if I knew what to look for, what to target, what to buy, and where I could make decent money. And then what that did was it kind of gave me a little bit more learning about the online, what to kind of look for online, because prior to that, I had been used to a local connection where I was getting Best Buy and Toys R Us returns by the pallet locally for a ridiculous amount of like $150 to $225 a pallet. And I'm talking video games, DVDs, small electronics. I'm still selling stuff that I got from him. The last load I got was 2.5 years ago when he's had like 22 pallets of Dynex and Rocketfish Best Buy items up in a warehouse in Philadelphia that he had to get out of there, and I took a moving truck up there and bought it. But I still have a lot of that stuff over in storage. We sorted it and sold all the high dollar stuff. But I'm like, every time I go over there, I'm like, oh, let's rescan a few things. I'm like, oh, well, this is selling for $10, and there's probably 200 of them here. Let's go add those to eBay. So I would say to just be careful. What you can do on liquidation is you can look at their percentages. I used to like looking at return customer rates. So, the 50% of people come back and buy from again, 20%, 10%, 0%. If no one's coming back and buying from them, that's probably because they had a bad experience. So you'd like to see that higher, return rate. There's a lot of other legit good sellers on there. I just haven't gone that route because I've been doing well in the Amazon returns. And honestly, I have other connections now for inventory where basically I'm using liquidation.com for when I'm slow. If I need something, I know I can go on in 1 week, win a few auctions, have them put all in one pallet, and it can be at my house the following week. So if I look like I'm running low, then that's one strategy I have to not only make money, but to keep my helpers busy. Dennis is asking about being a casual flipper and worried about making a big investment. Do you ever find yourself in a situation where you take a loss? In most cases with liquidation, if you know what you're doing, the worst case scenario is you're going to still make a little bit. It's probably, that lot wasn't worth your time, but you got your investment back. It's very hard to, I'm not going to say it's very hard to lose your money. There's probably a couple small lots where I was like, that was not worth it. I had to take it to the flea market. Who knows how much I actually got back out of it. But in most cases, you're paying 10 to 15% of value. You're going to get your money back and some. The reason it's so cheap a lot of times is people aren't set up and don't want to take the time. A lot of the bigger sellers, their time is more valuable than what they can make off of the smaller liquidation lots. So that would be your next step, would be outside of those small lots, like on liquidation.com, would be buying pallets. Now that you do need to be a little bit more leery of, because you could make an investment on something that's not worth it. But the biggest thing is doing your research, talking to the vendor or the seller. There's a bunch of big corporate companies out there like Bulk. I've done one lot with them way back when they first were coming out. What I don't like about a lot of those is that they're like pre-curated to be like this great deal for resellers. I feel like it's already like almost overpriced from the get-go. So that's just my opinion. I'm not saying you can't make money and there aren't good deals, but they're like, you really got to go through a lot of stuff. Whereas with like liquidation.com, I feel like it's still to a point where if you're getting these items from Amazon for like 15% of their value, if you know your niche, like a certain health and beauty or sporting goods, and in there you can say, okay, well, even if this item is broken, I know that I can still get this for parts. I can still get this one for this much. If I assume half of this stuff's good, I'm going to double or triple my money. It's really not too risky. I would start there, and then as you grow with that, then start to expand into pallets. And how should someone who has very low experience try to break into the industry a little bit more? That's about it. What I just said, just kind of get your foot out there, start buying. You could also, the way I started was through Craigslist. I found a local connection, and it just turned out that he was one of the local distributors for returns through Best Buy and Toys R Us. Now, a lot of the stuff he had the reason stuff was going up to Pennsylvania is they had contracts to sell a lot of stuff overseas. For whatever reason, every once in a while there would be lots where it was like not necessarily under the table, but a separate contract. It was like one subset store said, I have 4 pallets I need to get rid of today. And he would, he was their guy, but it just was a different type of contract. He wasn't forced to send that stuff overseas. And now he's selling the smallest deals he's doing is like $200,000 for, a couple thousand laptops or phones. He's stepped it up to where, you need to have a big money to get involved. And they're actually still selling a lot of it overseas, making more money than what the U.S. market is for older phones and stuff like that overseas. So pretty interesting. BKM says, love the Africans. How many do you have? She's talking about the fish or African cichlids. Currently, I have 3. They like to eat each other. So at one point we had 5. They actually just killed my algae eater, which I have an auto feeder, and then I top them off with just flakes. Like you can see, they're getting hungry now. So anyhow, yeah, I've had them for a while. This guy here is probably 5 or 6 years old. This guy's 2 years old, and this guy here is their baby. So I was down to 2, and then they had a baby, and she keeps getting pregnant, but they before that she'll spit the eggs, she eats them. So I need to put her in a secondary holding tank. Do you think paying $400 for Amazon mini pallet with about? Do you think paying $400 for an Amazon mini pallet with about 200 to 400 items is a good deal? I go pick it up. There's really no way to know without looking at the manifest. If they're not giving you a manifest, and for those who don't know, that's a detailed list of what the items are. A lot of times they'll have like UPC, so you can quickly go and search. You would have to go. Don't commit to anything if you don't have the manifest. You have to go and look. What I would be leery of is like a mid-sized seller like me cherry picking a lot and then saying, "Oh, here's 400 items for $400. It's a great deal," but they're giving you all the junk that they don't want to sell. So I mean, it could be fine if you want that kind of stuff to sell for $3 or $4 or $5 at the flea market, but that could be what they're doing. So you just got to be careful with that. Yeah, BKM's talking about the fish, the 55-gallon 8-ounce. That's what this is, a 55. Yeah, they're the ones I have are pretty aggressive, but I need to clean the tank and get some algae eaters, put some more rocks in. I kind of been neglecting it because I'm so busy. All right, so let me have a few more questions lined up for you guys. B Cressage 2 says, what's going on? I commented on your post yesterday on Instagram about the wholesale liquidations. I do have a resale license, so looking to see what possible insight you may have. Don't want to bother you, but wanted to follow up and for the reason, basically saying, what are the best avenues to go order bulk liquidations? So like I talked about before, to break through and get started is you're going to want to look for local connections. Craigslist, do some searches, bulk lot, liquidation, pallet, huge lot. I always will type in eBay because a lot of times people that have big lots will say, worth $5,000 on eBay. It's, don't take that with a grain of salt, but that's a good way to see a listing that someone's probably selling a lot of stuff. That's a good way to get the ball rolling. The other thing you want to check is liquidation.com. I like to buy through Amazon on there. I'll have a link in the description about that. And then let's see. So there's a couple other sites that I do dabble in. The one I can flat out tell you, B Stock, that's known. If you Google liquidation, you're going to see bulk. You're going to see B Stock. You're going to see liquidation.com. You might see like 888 lots, blue lots. There's all these different places you can check out. What you need to kind of figure out is what exactly you want to be selling. Right now, I've been selling a lot of clothing because I can get it for cheaper, and it's a lot easier for my helpers to go through, inspect it, test it, and list it. Electronics and sporting goods, and even a little bit of health and beauty, I don't mind doing. I always enjoyed that, but it was a lot harder for them to make decisions of how to test something, what to do with it. So for me, I found like clothing was the biggest way to expand. And then when I have more time, I could help out with any electronics that come in. For instance, when Mophie comes in, I do have a helper that's pretty decent with that kind of stuff, but I'll pitch in and make some decisions on some of that stuff. So those are a few places you can check out. I would definitely check locally too. Bridge City Boutique says, hey, so my husband and I are looking to expand our reselling into buying liquidations and wholesale. We've been doing a lot of research, but we're still a little stumped on what companies will be the best and most reliable place to start with. We're saving up specifically to buy some lots of items, so I definitely want to make sure everything's possible so we don't get screwed. Do you have any recommendations of places, companies to start? So once again, it's kind of the same question. Google liquidation, and then try to start seeing which sites you can get approved for. A lot of them are going to require a resale license and that you have a business. Some of them don't. So you want to get in there and kind of get a gauge of what the lots, how much they cost. Start doing that research. Get a feel for how you figure out the actual value of the lot. I do have some videos planned where I'm going to talk about how to determine the pricing of a lot. I'll do more of like a coaching video on YouTube. But in general, the rule of thumb for returns is you want to be in like 10 to 15%. For shelf pools, you can go up to like 20 to 30 depending on the items. So shelf pools meaning new items. It's like new stock that was wiped from the shelf or from their warehouses because they need to liquidate it. Be a little bit careful with like store stock. It's like stock pools from the showroom. Any items that are out in the store, because those have been handled, they could have been opened. Those probably closer to like 20% is what the going rate is. But you have to be careful because if they're going off of MSRP, a lot of times the MSRP is inflated like 40%, 30 to 40% over the actual eBay sale value. So keep that in mind. Fernando's checking in from Honduras. He's been looking at the videos. They look awesome. What you find, I'm interested in all related with phone accessories. What experience could you give me about that? Definitely liquidation.com. They have a lot of bulk phone. You can get 200 phone cases for pretty cheap. They kind of stopped. I noticed a lot of the listings, they stopped giving you a detail of what all the phone cases were. 2 years ago, when I was buying a lot of cases from there, it would list, iPhone 6 life proof, what the color was, the UPC. Now it's more like it just says 200 cases. The value, $19.99 is the estimated value from them, like a generic number, and it's worth $1,500. I don't know for sure, something like that. And then you have to kind of look at the pictures and say, just based on what you see sitting on the top of the box, okay, I see maybe 2 life proofs, an outer box, a couple specs, whatever it is. This is probably a decent lot. It's not all like generic knockoff kind of just cheap cases. So you kind of got to take your chances, but most of the time, if you can see a couple premium cases, you'll be okay. I have a feeling with it based on his Instagram feed, he's probably looking for more new stuff. I had a few years back, I was getting a lot of pallets from my local guy of Best Buy first, but then I was getting Target. The last lot I got was 4 pallets of Target, all phone cases, all the brands. So I know a lot about phone cases. Most people shy away from them, but if you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of money in phone cases. Unfortunately, that dried up. So those cases now from Target, Best Buy, wherever, they're going somewhere. I just haven't been able to find it. So, hey, anybody watching this video, if you know where I can get the hookup on, the premium phone cases from the name brand stores like Target, let me know, because we can definitely handle and process those. They're all first class, super cheap. You don't have to test them. You just inspect the condition. Very easy, very easy. Lecture 102 says, hey, I seen your purchase lots from liquidation.com. Have you ever purchased grocery lot from them? In the description, it says all or some has expired. Have you purchased one that all was expired? I don't mess too much with grocery for that reason. A lot of times it won't all be expired, but what will happen is it'll be short dated, and that means that it's coming so close to the expiration date that it's not really giving the customer enough time to enjoy the product. So if you have a health and beauty item that's 90 not 90 trials, but 90 pills or 90 servings, whatever you want to call it, but it expires in 2 months, well, that's not enough time for that item to make it through the expiration. So that's called like short dated. It's items that are getting close too close to the expiration. I haven't messed with it for that reason. The biggest thing for me, and I kind of right now I'm shying a little bit more away from health and beauty. It's just because of the potential liabilities. If someone does get sick, if someone does get hurt by one of your products, though most attorneys are going to try to go after the big brand, you're technically the one that sold it to them, so they're going to go after you too, as well as try to get the brand. So keep that in mind. I would probably shy away. Or a tip I could give you is try to start with something small. Get a small lot here and there. If you do well, if the items aren't even, some items I can guarantee you don't expire, or we'll still have a year or two left for expiration. So I do get some local. I have another local connection from out of Pennsylvania, a different one that I do get local. It's basically CVS returns or CVX clearance, CVS shelf pulls the pharmacy. So that's like a mixed items, and a lot of times a lot of the stuff in there still has the sunscreen or whatever. It still has a year left before it expires, but definitely come across some expired stuff. Try to avoid it just to be safe. This person here, it's considered sold. Basically, they're asking what percentage. Let me just read it. When you're looking at buying lots, you usually base your max buy price of the lot on. I've been thinking about percentage where the listed MSRP, but wondering where I should be placing that percentage. Right now, I'm saying 10% of the lot is unsellable, and buying for 1/3. 10% of the lot is unsellable, and for quick buying decisions, I use 1/3 of the MSRP listed of the lot to sell for. So buy prices that fall a decent profit mix are good for me. Sorry, it's kind of a little bit, you know how you get the text in a little shorthand. But he's noticing electronics are selling for around 1/3 of the MSRP, so maybe you should expect higher returns on the lots in general. I would still try to find lots, especially if you're starting. If you're a little bit more seasoned and you've been dealing with the same selling company, you can probably go a little higher. But in most cases, like for the Mophie lot, I got that at 20%. I got that at 20% of the eBay value, not the MSRP value. It probably was closer to 10% of the MSRP. So you can find lots out there better. I would never pay 1/3 of MSRP for electronics. That's just way too much. Basically, the MSRP, let's say it's $1,000 MSRP. Okay, well, if you're paying 1/3, that means you're paying $333 roughly for $1,000 lot. Well, don't forget the MSRP is inflated for roughly 40%. So when you start looking those items up, the $100 items you're going to see are selling closer to 60 or 70. So then you have to take that off. Well, then you got to take off the fact they're open box. So now you're knocking it down another 10 to 15%. Okay, so it keeps coming down. Before you know it, you're sitting at possibly $500 in sales, and you paid $330, and there's no room for fees or anything. You'd be in the loss. I would be closer on $1,000 electronics. I would be looking to spend $100, $150, unless I really know something like, hey, they have the MSRP listed too low. That happens too, and that's kind of where I find some of my best deals, when there's a misrepresented lot, but in the favor of the buyer. So it'd be favor of me, meaning they said it's $1,000. I looked the items up, and I found out that it's actually $600 original value. So now that changes the game. And most of the time, there probably will be a few sellers that catch on to it, but most of the time, a lot of guys are going off the percentages because, like you said, it's a quick way to do it. It's a quick way to be safe. And there's so many lots out there that you just know that you can pass and move on to the next one. Real Fishing said, where can I buy Bass Pro Liquidations on YouTube? One of my videos. I would just type in Bass Pro Liquidations and see if you can find anywhere that's selling them. I don't know for sure. I can do some searching for you, but I didn't have the time before this video to do that. So sorry, Real Fishing. General Caesar said, love the video. Is there an easy way to figure out shipping before you click the buy button? Is there an easy way to figure out shipping before you click the buy? I'm guessing he's talking about on liquidation.com. Yes, you can go in and get a quote down in the listing under shipping, they'll say get a quote, and you can figure out the shipping before you bid on it. But he is saying buy button. So General Caesar, you might have to comment again. Let me know what you mean there. Uni LLC, what's up, my brother? I got you right here on my YouTube as well. He said on December 24th, how do you handle the shipping of all the influx of orders? Then he followed up saying, this is very interesting. Or she, I'm sorry, Uni. I'm not sure if you're a guy or a gal. How do you handle the shipping all the influx of orders? Basically, I just allocate time. If I'm super behind or busy and I have staff here, what I will do is I will have them pull items from inventory and line them up so that when I go to ship it, they're ready to roll. It just makes it a lot faster. It basically cuts my time in half from going and picking them. I do have an inventory system. We're up to 45 different, basically the normal size 5-foot shelves. I have four spots on a 5-foot shelf, and then they go all the way down to F. So we go up to F45. So a lot of different locations where I store stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 10. I think it's around 10 shelving systems I have, all labeled. And my helper would go and pull the items based on the solds. So that's one way. The other way is you just got to plan for it. You got to know that you're going to be up late shipping orders, and you just try to have a system in place that makes it speedy. Most shipments on my setup I can do in about 2 minutes or less. So some less than a minute, some up to 5 minutes, but on average, I'm a little bit under 2 minutes. So for instance, 25 listings tonight when I get off of here will probably take me like 45, somewhere around 40 minutes, something like that. It depends. If there's a bunch of big stuff, which I don't have a whole lot of big stuff listed. Yesterday I sold a big printer. Even that wasn't bad, but it's a lot longer than clothing or putting it in a poly bag or a padded mail-in envelope. I carry every other size padded mail-in envelope, so I have I don't really use 0. It's too small. I use 00, or no. Is it 00? I think so. Either way, 0, 1, 3, 5, 7 are the numbers of the padded envelopes that I use. So anyhow, that definitely helps a lot. I'm willing to spend a little bit more on shipping to speed up the process. So thanks for Uni. Thanks for the following, Mal. Yeah, thank you for being in the comments. Everyone, put any other questions you have, because you'll see that I can look them up and we'll do live. And which, can you even see that? Yeah, so I just go right on there and I can look at your guys' questions and answer them right here. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any other questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm going to get ready to wrap this up in a few minutes. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. Let me know what you think of my plans for 2019. If you would put them down in the description. Any other tips you think I can do to improve the channel. Try to work on the way I present, my computer issues and all that stuff. That'll kind of come with time. You got to remember this is like my 5th video, so excuse me, I'm pretty new at it. Let me answer a few more chats and then we're going to call it a night. Great advice. No manifest, no product list, no way. Yeah. At this point, Martin, I would pretty much agree with you, unless I can physically go and look at the products. I'm looking to buy a lot from Liquidation. Oh, locally. Yeah, so that would make sense. If you can go locally and check it out, you're knowledgeable. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good place to start. Any tips on that? Be prepared to look items up while you're there. Obviously you'll have your phone, your eBay app, you're checking solds. I don't know. Did you say flat from Liquidation? Okay, so it's liquidation.com if you want to BKM, if you'll comment liquidation.com or a local liquidation company. Because I know liquidation.com has multiple warehouses when if you win a bid, you can go pick it up. I'm assuming this is a different company. But yeah, if you can do any of the research you can do, and then you want to, while you're there, try to get an idea of the general condition of the items. Dig around a little bit. That would be a good starting point. If you start to see a bunch of broken stuff right off the bat, it could possibly be a salvage lot that they're trying to sell as returns. Be careful for that. Those would be items that, as they were sub-sorting what to do with it, they noticed an immediate defect, something broken, cable, smash, dent. Some places will take those and separate them from the returns because they already know it's bad. So that would be a salvage lot. You want to stay away from that unless if you want to do parts and whatnot. How do you get a reseller license? The best thing is to go to your local state government. You can actually do it online. I did mine, everything online. I did talk to my CPA, but he basically instructed me that for that I could just register it all online. It was pretty simple, and it came within a couple weeks. It wasn't really a big deal. Depending on your state, you may be able to run it through your tax ID. Other states may require you to have a business, so you're going to have to look into that. All I know that I can speak on is for Maryland. I started an LLC, and then I registered for the resale license, and I was granted that. So I do actually have a business here. Dennis, I'm checking out liquidation.com. I see several Amazon sellers. Okay. So sourced from Amazon is the one that I've been buying from. There has been a couple other ones popping up, and I believe they are related, but I haven't bought from those other ones yet. Let me check real quick. Sorry, I have all my shortcuts got all messed up because I'm adding a bunch of stuff with YouTube and a couple of other. Here we go. You guys can't see my screen anyway, but so I am using sourced from Amazon Liquidations. And I'll put the link in the description for you guys real quick. Just give me 1 second. Now, what this is, this link I'm going to give you is, let me see if I can do this. I was going to say it's specifically looking at the warehouse I normally buy from, but I just took it off of that, so it's now should be all the warehouses. But okay, now I think they're all basically they're all sourced from Amazon Liquidations, but you have multiple different sellers linked under that account. It's going to be all the same thing. It's just they're naming. It looks like to me they changed the name of the different locations. So FC looks like Texas. Is CE? I could be wrong. I'm gonna have to look into that. Be honest with you, I haven't either I haven't noticed it or it's been fairly recent they've done this. Normally I buy from Plainfield, Indiana, and that is, or saying it's saying either sourced from Amazon Liquidations or CE app sourced from Amazon Liquidations. So that's interesting. Either way, if you check out, you guys check out that link. That should be all the Amazon Liquidations. And then Uni, once again, if you want to check out, you're asking about not having much of a budget, so small tips would be awesome. You're going to look for the warehouses on liquidation.com that are closest to you. And then you're going to look for, when you click on them, typically each picture is representing a box. So if there's like 5 pictures, normally that means there's going to be 5 boxes. So that's going to cost a lot to ship. If it's only 1 or 2, it's going to be a lot less. So depending on your budget, that's an easy way for you to figure out. I know that on the multi-box lots, ship. I'm not saying I know. I'm saying for you, as you're researching based on your location, you'll start to see an average like, okay, multi-boxes around 200 pounds or 100 pounds are going for $100 shipped, but a single or double box lot is only costing 40 to 60 shipped. So keep that in mind. Normally it's like 45 or 40 some dollars is the minimum for shipping. So I think that's it. I hope everyone's enjoyed this. Want you guys to crush 2019. Message me, DM, put your comments down below, and I'll try to get back to you guys. If I don't, I start getting some of the same repetitive questions, I'll put it in my next video, which should be hopefully next week on Thursday at 9 or 10, depending. I'll get a better schedule for you guys this week. And once again, my name's Dan, liquidationpros.org, at Liquidation Pros, pretty much for Instagram, YouTube, all that. And I hope this video helps you out, and you guys have a great night and a great week. Thank you. Thanks for coming.